Greetings, this is Skylar Saunders Singh. What's current? Well, the Harvey Weinstein trend going. Free Harvey Weinstein? I don't know. Um, Jessica Mann, one of the accusers of Weinstein, took to the stand. She said she had been violated and that later on in the relationship between she and Harvey Weinstein, she kept in touch with him. She actually, had correspondence with him to try to keep the peace because he was allegedly a Dr. Jekyll and a Mr. Hyde. That's the kind of person he was. He had a side to him. He had a joyous, kind of buoyant, very, happy kind of side, and of course, a very disgusting, disturbing, horrific side to him. So that is what's gotten him, his 4-count rape charges. And this retrial is very interesting to me. Salute to Texas. I see you, sir. Going back to Jesus, never going back to Jesus. I know we ain't going to talk about no damn Muslim. Oh, yes, we will. Yes, we will. I'll keep the pork on the fork, but I will talk about a Muslim. Later on the show, this is the teaser. 100 years since the birth of Malcolm X, Malcolm Little, Malcolm X, and El Shabazz. Well, Malcolm Little, Detroit Red, Malcolm X, El Shabazz. That's the proper way to say it. So we're going to show, I'm going to have a little bit of a discussion about that. But let's talk about Harvey Weinstein. This is just, I don't know whether this is for a point. I don't know what this is doing. Why is there a retrial? They explained it to me multiple times. I still don't know. My dumbass cannot follow why there's a retrial. I thought they were finished. I thought it was done. He was going to be put away for a long time. He is going to be put away for a long time. So they have a retrial, and he comes out successful with the California charge, which is 16 years. So we have to really delve into that. Jessica Mann, she is, she is an actress. She wanted to get a film role, possibly, get on. She didn't land the role that she wanted necessarily, but I don't think that was the fault of Weinstein. It was some kind of miscommunication or something like that. Pause. I don't know. Texas is saying free Harvey Weinstein. He's just standing 10 toes down. I put the question mark on it. I said, I don't know. Should he be freed? They freed Cosby. Free Harvey Weinstein? I don't know. But so I think with Harvey Weinstein and Jessica Mann, I mean, she just adds to the next level of females. Sokola was the other woman that stepped forward, the Polish princess. She's not an actual princess, but I would love to have her to be an American. I don't think she's an American citizen, but that's I would love to have called her a Polish American princess, a pap. Usually they go by Jap, Jewish American princess, but that's something different. Texas says he did nothing wrong. Most of the women that accused him couldn't even describe his genitalia and got dismissed. Yeah, we have to be very careful because these are just some, they could be some thirsty broads out off trying to get a come up. They could be thirsty broads out for a come up. So, I mean, I can understand what Texas is saying because that's what some women do. Not all women, but some women, seeking a paycheck or just, attention, and, they're attention whores, and they want to be in the spotlight. Hold on one second. All right, I'm back. All right. Gwyneth Paltrow didn't say ish till after she got her money. Okay. I didn't know that. You send me a link so you can verify that, confirm and verify. I didn't realize that, but I think with Harvey Weinstein, it's just he's literally a despicable person because he's been convicted of rape. He is. I mean, until they take those charges away, or those, his guilty statutes, I guess, away. I don't know. Are they still charges? Are they charges after you've been charged, or and you've been found guilty? Are they still charges? Can they be dropped? Can they be expunged, or can they be excused? I don't know. I'm not good with law. I'm still trying to figure all this out. But Harvey Weinstein, today it's so interesting. Is going back and forth between Weinstein and Diddy, and like just the difference between you have a Jew, you have an old, a very aged white Jew, and a grizzled middle-aged black man, and they're going through this all together. Okay, Texas has sent me a link. I can't read it though. Can't even read the caps, the top part. They want me to buy into New York Times. Thanks though. Appreciate it. But I can't use it. I'm not buying New York Times, not yet. Maybe when I get rich off of you people that send me donations. All right, so we have this Jessica Mann figure. She is, totally okay. The Guardian. I know that's free. I know that's free. Gwyneth Paltrow's crucial source in Harvey Weinstein revelations. A new book says the actor was scared of going on the record at first, but then encouraged other women to speak out. Okay, so basically, this whole article is about her saying, she was allegedly sexually assaulted. But the thing that sticks out to me though is with Jessica Mann is that she had the correspondence. She kept in touch. She said that essentially quelled the beast. It kept him at a distance, at a bay, and didn't further encourage any other alleged criminality, any other alleged foul acts. Didn't accuse him until after she was already rich. Okay. That's a point you're making there, Texas. I can't confirm or deny because I'm not going to read that whole article. I still got a show to do, but I appreciate you for sending me that. I'm going to read it later, and that's going to inform my next show about Harvey Weinstein, which should be on Wednesday. Because I'm going to go ping pong. I'm going to go back and forth. I'm going to go Weinstein one day, Diddy the next, Harvey Weinstein, Diddy, like that, until some other story comes up that grabs my attention. Like the S-hole in Louisiana, the plantation that burned down. Texas is saying free Harvey, free Diddy. I say free Diddy. I say free Diddy because he's not been I can't say free Harvey Weinstein. I say question mark free Harvey Weinstein. Should he be free? That's up to you to decide. But free Diddy, I can say that he's never been convicted of one charge ever. He's never been convicted of any crime. He's not a felon. Harvey Weinstein is a felon. He has to have a question mark. Not sure. Not too keen on that. So, I think with Jessica Mann's her ability to show her side, her position, her view of the case, and to offer her own testimony, that encourages other women to come out and say stuff like that. I don't even know how that works. How does it work? Is there like a catalog of people that that go up for the stand? How does that work? Anybody? Do you know, Texas? How in criminality and law courts, how witnesses are chosen? Because that's interesting to me with Diddy. One of the first people to go on the stand was Cassie. I thought they were gonna save her for last. I zero people watching right now, zero people. But anyway, I thought Cassie was gonna go last. I thought she was gonna go way after everybody else. So I was surprised by that. I was taken by that. But Jessica Mann for the Harvey Weinstein case, she just said he was like horrible and happy at the same time. Like he was Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. He showed one face and then he showed another face. It was totally opposite of what she expected. She expected him to be pretty cordial and decent and polite, and he turned into a monster allegedly from her viewpoint, from her point of view. That is disturbing. That is distressing. So Jessica Mann, her ability to take the stand and see him in court again, and or maybe for the first time, I'm not sure if she was in for the previous time, but see him again in a court setting, that was probably very moving and very emotional for her. Just to try to remember. There was an incident where he was taking some kind of erectile dysfunction medication or drugs, and he would go into the bathroom and get ready, and she was just like wondering what's going on and stuff like that, and then he would come out and from what I understood, then he tried to he forced herself on her, and actually came to a part where he violated her. But this is all alleged. This is not this is part of her testimony. Is she could lie under oath? Who knows? You never know. People like I always think about The Social Network. They said, but he's under oath. He had to be the first person to ever say a lie under oath. I'm paraphrasing, but that's essentially what Jesse Eisenberg's Mark Zuckerberg says on the stand during the deposition. But this is not a deposition. This is an actual law court proceeding, which is a lot more severe. And everything, all eyes are on Harvey Weinstein, which is interesting too, because they have photographs, but they don't have video or film of the actual trial. I'm very confused. This is New York. This is a part of New York that's distinct from where Diddy is, but Diddy, all they have are sketches. They only have artist renderings of what's going on with Diddy and everybody. So I just have to question that. Like, what's going on with that? I don't understand. I'm a little confused by that. That's what is challenging me, because it's like you have one side. Okay, you can do photographs, but you can't do video or film. You can't do anything like that. No images, no moving images, no movies. So that's just another point. That's weird, but. Jessica Mann, another woman on the stand telling her truth, maybe not the truth, but her truth, and seeking for everyone to understand her plight, her position, her ability to convey something that other women have claimed against Harvey Weinstein. I just don't know if this is even. I mean, if it's even, if it's not like a waste of time, basically. Is this a waste of time and money? Is this a waste of the taxpayers' money? They're gonna retry him, find him guilty again, and then what? Like, what was the point of the retrial? Are they saying that the defense has something up their sleeve, and that they could possibly give damning evidence against the accusers? They could have possible ideas and identification that goes against the people that are on the stand, like Jessica Mann. I don't really understand what really it's about. These things confuse me. They're weird. They're weird. Harvey Weinstein is weird. Diddy is weird. Because it's like, why even try to do something like that? Why would you even? You courted multiple people, allegedly. Definitely for Harvey Weinstein. He's been accused of rape and been charged with rape and convicted of rape. Felon, everything. 16 years in California. Right now, no matter what, 16 years. He's going to be spending at least till he's 89. They might give him out, get him out because of old age. He might go to a retirement home for prisoners or something like that, some facility, that's low security. But I'm trying to figure it out. I'm just trying to wade through these waters because I don't understand. I never really understood the law system. I never understood the judicial system. I always respected it. I always honored it. I always thought about it, but it's so erudite. It is completely erudite. It's so many Latin phrases, and there's so many different pieces. And this person's the prosecutor, and this is the DA, and this is the defense, and they have to present this amount of evidence, and you can't say this here, and the judge sits there and he says this about that. I just get so confused every time I see it because I don't understand why they can't allow the video in the court. What is some courts can, some courts can't. Whoa, there we go. Like, why not? I don't get that. That doesn't make any sense to me. And like I said, I thought it was, maybe it's well, they are serious cases, but like very like heavy, super serious cases like murder, double murder. O.J. Simpson trial was flashed on screens all over the globe, everywhere, from East Bangladesh to London to New York to Milan to Angora to the Congo to Tokyo. It was everywhere. And it was a double murder. These are Diddy's charges are lighter. I mean, they're heavy, but the trafficking prostitutes, that's stupid. The RICO, really? Bad Boys of RICO? Okay. That's stupid. And the sexual assaults, okay, that's pretty serious. Okay, I understand that. Sexual assaults, that's actually a violation of rights. The trafficking isn't the way you phrase it, the way it's supposed to be said. Trafficking is not specifically wrong because prostitution should be legal. As it stands, the trafficking should be in it where it is. Of course, it's like with drug dealing. If you get caught for drug dealing, I want you in handcuffs. I don't agree with it, but it's part of the law right now. Just like alcohol was outlawed. I would say somebody that was bootlegging, I would snitch on them and say, you got to go to jail because you're a menace to society. You're putting alcohol out there, but I would be for alcohol, like we were when I think it ended in 1933, and we said, okay, here's alcohol. Bumba, I see you. I got stranded in Mexico because my wristwatch called ice. Is that Dave Blunt? I was listening to Dave Blunt as I was working out today. He seems like he's very strange. He says a lot of gay stuff in his music. He said, I love my niggas, but I ain't GAY or something like that, or G or something. And then I'm not a FAGGOT, but I like or something like that. I'm like, this guy's like really menace to sobriety. And it still shows 0 viewers right now. 0 viewers, even though Bumba's definitely in live chat. There's 0 viewers. That Joy Lane line was crazy. Yeah. He said a lot of things that were kind of wild. I was like, what the hell? He said, I'm not gay, but I like LGBTQ. This is not a direct quote, but it's a phrase. He said something like that. He said, like, I do this way, but I'm not LGBTQ or something crazy. I should have wrote it down while I was working out. But he said something wild. I was like, okay. That's him. But I actually like his style. He has that rhyming. He reminded me of Juice World, the late great Juice World, rockin' power to Juice World. But he reminded me of him. So I definitely I actually enjoyed his melodies. I like the rap. I like rapping about selling keys and smashing broads and doing all this crazy stuff. I like how they had that like sing songy rap. They call it melodic rap. I think in the Grammys. I think they made that a category a few years ago. He wrote. Okay. He wrote Ye's Cousins. Is that alleged or is that fact? Is that true? And you're still not part of the viewership. I don't understand. Are there like phantom views? I'm not getting any viewership. Bumba, did he write? Did he? Is that 100% true? Wow. Yeah, he dabbles in some serious stuff. He be like, what was he saying? Like, I'll be hitting it from the back until she pissed or something like that. I was like, whoa, this is some serious stuff. It was based off his song 10 Perks. Oh, okay. Now you're finally counted. One person in this room. And he wrote the Hitler song for Ye. Wow. I may never hear it until Ye stands up and apologizes to the Jewish community and to FBA. I'm not buying any of his stuff. I'm not supporting. I'm not going to give him any streams. I'm not going to give him any views. I'm not going to be the one to do that. It's a banger. Pause. But yeah, so Jessica Mann, she was the latest person to say something, against Harvey Weinstein. What do we do? What do we do with that information? What do we do with it? How can we claim it? Wizard says free Texas from his pastor's dungeon. So this should be two people. It still says one. Wizard's in here. Salute to Wizard. Salute, sir. I listened to it 6 million times. Okay, now how am I going to trust you and say that he had the song 10 Perks and 100% true that he wrote Cousins? I can't. Are you saying you're just saying you're exaggerating? You're using hyperbole. What are you doing, Bumba? How am I going to believe you now? I can't tell if you're using hyperbole or obviously you didn't listen to it 6 million times, but I don't know if you're using the hyperbole to say that you listen to it multiple times, at least 10 times or whatever the case may be. Listen to them both. They sound the same exact lyrics. Are you talking about 10 Perks and Cousins? Is that what you're talking about, Bumba? There it goes. Two people. All right, two people. A little different than the past few days. I used to get like a party. We usually have like 10 people. Maybe it has to go a little bit later. I don't know. Listen to them both. They sound the same except lyrics. Yeah, 10 Perks and Cousins. Okay. I have to listen to 10 Perks. Wow. Okay. So what does Jessica Mann did Jessica Mann did she really understand what she was saying against Harvey Weinstein? Or was she saying like, oh well, he's got 4 rape charges against him anyway that he was found guilty. He's a convict. He's in prison. So and he's in one of the worst parts of the prison. He's in like almost like a nursing home for or like the criminally insane kind of thing. It's like very run down, as it should be. Prison shouldn't be a luxury suite, a presidential suite. You shouldn't have any amenities, and you should have like the lowest of the low, just enough to get you through life. Unless you're trying to be rehabilitated. That's what I always have that conundrum. People that are being rehabilitated should be punished for what they did. But at the same time, they have to be rehabilitated. They have to be. Because they're going to be put in society again. So, free Texas from the shipping container of lady boys Diddy he left behind. Who is she? Jessica Mann. Jessica Mann is the latest contestant on the Harvey Weinstein screen. No, She's the latest to give testimony against him during his retrial. Be honest, do you think Tory should be free? I'm gonna say no. I think he really Tory should not be free. I may have to get better. That's just off the cuff. I remember doing some stories way back. What was it, 2022, 23, when it happened? And I took Megan Thee Stallion's word. Mammy the Stallion lied. I'm gonna say yes. The friend did it. Oh, okay. 2 likes. Thank you. 3 likes. 3 people in here. 3 likes. I support that. I campaign on that. But yeah. So I think Tory should be free. Diddy should be free. Maybe Harvey Weinstein. Maybe Harvey Weinstein should be free. Tory gonna be the next Tupac. Oh my God. But he was kind of a dumbass, wasn't he? He was rhyming over talking about he was gonna get somebody off the. He made a track off the phone or something like that. You a bad journalist? How am I a bad journalist? What makes me a bad journalist, Wizard? If you was really up on a case, she would know that Megan's story switched many of times. I don't recall her switching her story many times, and a jury of his peers found him not guilty, or guilty of his charges. So you would have to be one of the worst people to analyze the case and say that I'm a bad journalist. Then was it gonna say you would know? My bad. Don't say no. Don't retreat. Go harder. Say no, dumbass. You don't know what you're talking about. You should have studied the case more or something like that. Say something like that. Don't say, "Oh no, you know more than I." It's okay. No, go in harder. Go in harder. I appreciate that, Wizard. Come on, I appreciate you going hard. Don't retreat. Retreat like hell, as we Marines would say. No, I had typos. So he's saying he had typos. Okay, so I have 4 likes with 3 viewers. Not mad. Like I said, when you come in here, bring in 2, 3, 6,000 people. You have more friends than I have friends, but I have no buddies. I have nobody I call up and say, "Yeah, man, let's go over here. Yeah, let's get some brews. Let's go, cruise for some chicks." But anyway, but I think he destroyed his career. Of course, he destroyed his career. Star need to stop being lazy and do a show. He's on vacation. This is why I'm getting my come up. I got 972 last time I checked. 972 subscribers to my YouTube account. So my video accountant keeps climbing. Vacation on Diddy week? Yeah. Bumba Star laid up with a lady boy courtesy of Rory. Pause, slow that down. Slow that all the way down. I have nothing to do with that. Mr. Short Terrain. The views expressed by Wizard do not correspond with Skylar Saunders Singh or any of its affiliates. Viewer discretion is advised. So let me wrap up with Harvey Weinstein. Harvey Weinstein is a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad person. He is one of the worst people ever to walk the planet. He is a horrible person. Of course, I said that before, but he's an awful, just not as Scott said, not my mentor. Well, I want to say he's my mentor. He just gave me, the idea of making this show. I don't know what that's called, but what's the next topic? Or are you leaving? No, you'll see. You'll see in 20 seconds from now. I'm gonna show you something. I'll show you something. You'll see. I teased it earlier. You weren't here, but Texas. He he got out real quick. I don't know if Texas is in here still. We got 3 people in here, but he got out real quick. So Harvey Weinstein is in the retrial, but it doesn't look good for him once again. Okay, 100 years. Malcolm X, A Life of Reinvention. He went from Malcolm Little to Detroit Red to Malcolm X to El Shabazz. Texas had to give his pastor his value. Okay, that's something else. But no, it's been 100 years since his birth. He was born in 1925 in Omaha, Nebraska. He had to move out of Nebraska because his father was actually killed because of Ku Klux Klansmen. He had one of the most meteoric rises in all of really human history. Just like complete what this book by the late I think he's late. Manning Marable. He says A Life of Reinvention. He started out, being Detroit Red. He was running schemes. He was doing cocaine. He was running with white girls. He was doing all this crazy stuff. He ended up in prison because of a robbery. He learned about Islam in prison. That changed his life completely. He became a spokesperson. He was essentially knighted. I mean, I say quote unquote by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and he went on a worldwide tour of various speaking engagements talking about the American Negro and Black nationalism. He's totally different from what he's often compared to or often thought of as, because they had so many similarities in certain circumstances. Not totally, but they both. I'm talking about Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. They both had 4 children. They both were killed at age 39. They both were assassinated in that way. It wasn't just like some robbers. They were killed because of their beliefs, because of their ideas, in a political way. So even though they weren't politicians, it's still an assassination because of their ideas, because of their thoughts, because of their activism, because of the way they carried themselves. So Malcolm X, I mean, that's what the title is, in most things, even the movie. The movie itself from Spike Lee, I say it's Spike Lee's greatest movie. It's not my favorite movie. My favorite movie from Spike Lee is Bamboozled. But I would definitely say, even the story behind Malcolm X is amazing. How he went to various, which is, I think, super racist. Spike Lee is a super racist. There's no question about it. He's an ultimate racist. He went only to Black people to get money to finance the film, because Warner Brothers cut out the funding, and because he wanted to add extra time and scope to the film, and they weren't budging until they said, "Oh well, he raised money from Oprah and Michael Jordan and Magic Johnson, and Bill Cosby was the first one actually to give him money." Bubba's wild. He says, "I hate Whitey" by Spike Lee. Yeah, that's basically. I mean, he wouldn't paint himself as that, but a lot of the way he conveys in his films is you can't deny it. He's a very racist person, and I don't mean in the sense of just concern for one's own race, but that could be part of it too. But back to Malcolm X. Malcolm X lived an extraordinary life. He could be inspiring in times, motivating at times. He could be contrary. He could be very damning and very harsh in some circumstances. But he could also be very jovial and very funny and humorous at different standpoints of his life. I think with this 100-year, the centenarian recognition of his life and works, I mean, it's best to just describe him as a collectivist who tried to challenge individualism. He once said, "You show me a capitalist and I'll show you a bloodsucker." He actually said that. You can look that up. Look that up when you get a chance. You show me a capitalist, if you show me a capitalist, I'll show you a bloodsucker. he wasn't a big fan, obviously, but the irony is that he always advocated for the economy of black people. He always gave speeches and he understood the idea of black people wanting to be challenged and wanting to be engaged in their own economic structure and their own economic buildup, and part of that was because of, or a large part of that was because of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, which Mr. Troy Star Terrain says is more important than a whole host of black people that I kind of just mentioned: Spike Lee, Oprah, Bill Cosby. This is a whole list of other people. But that was from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And what's sad is during the ending part of during the latter part of his years, he fell out with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and he couldn't grasp the ties that they had began to fray, because they had very differing viewpoints, very different views on everything. And I mean, the late great Patrice O'Neal had a great point about him and his comedic stylings. He said, Malcolm X came back from Mecca talking about, oh, my white brother, white brother, and we're just in this together. We're supposed to be dependent upon each other. We're all good. And then get your hand out of my pocket, and then it's like everybody that says something for peace, he was making a point. But whenever you start talking about peace and everything should be good, that's when your life is taken from you. You talk about hate and indifference and disgustingness and meanness and rashness and rudeness and ugliness. Okay, great, wonderful. Oh, we start talking about love and peace and happiness in a political sense, you're done. Everybody from Jesus to Gandhi to John Lennon, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, and Medgar Evers, John F. Kennedy, R.F. Kennedy. List goes on and on and on. If you talk about peace and well-being and happiness in a political statement, you're going to get capped. You're going to get somebody's going to smoke you. You're going to go down. So Wizard's still here. Okay, he says Bumba washes hair with oxtail gravy. And then Bumba just says booyah. Yeah, but so so that's why we have a dearth of people. I mean, we have maybe what Tariq Nasheed and I'm trying to think of the other guys. I always think about his, what's his name? Muhammad? Something Muhammad? I can't think of it. Somebody come up with it. Nation of Islam was behind Malcolm's demise because he was doing too much. You meant to put the O in the TO, but it's just a live chat, so it's okay. I understand. I understood what you're saying, so it's okay. They all named Muhammad. What is Tariq Nasheed, and it's another one. Who's the other guy? Who's the other black leader in today's world? Today he's got his own schools or something like that. Is it Tariq Nasheed or somebody? Who's the other guy? I can't think of his name. But anyway, Dr. Umar. Thank you, Umar Johnson. Dr. Umar Johnson. Thank you, Umar Johnson and Tariq Nasheed. They're on the outskirts though. They're not, Dr. MLK and Malcolm X. They're not even on their kind of scope. Two grifters. The hatred. Bubba's a hater. Two grifters. But anyway, excuse me. All right. Okay, so we have people like Tariq Nasheed and Dr. Umar Johnson. They're doing strides. They're making waves in puddles, I think. That's the best way I can describe them. They're not like this. They're not like, because they don't want to get capped. Nobody wants to. That's why we haven't had a black leader in what 60 years. We we had Jesse Jackson, keep hope alive. We had a black president, which was really a mixed president. We used to call. There was a kid in my neighborhood. He had a black dad and a white mom. We didn't say he was black. We never said he was black. We said he was mixed, and he looked mixed. He had the Albie Shore hair. He had the light skin. He was fair skin. He wasn't like he didn't have a lot of brown to him. But you look at Obama, and you're like, he black. He black. He definitely black. You would look at this kid I'm talking about. He would think he was Mexican or something like that. You would think he was Hispanic. But anyway. But 60 years, we haven't had a real leader. And they wouldn't be possibly, on the level of, Ayn Rand's, intellectual capacity. They wouldn't be advocating for recent individualism and capitalism, most likely. We have entertainers. We have people that, can give that. And that's the question I want to know. LMN, Big Scholar, salute to LMN. Make sure you give that donation. LMN, salute. Let me make sure I have that at the pinned at the top. Pinned at the top is my Cash App information. If you need my Venmo or PayPal, let me know, LMN. Salute to you. Make sure you hit that like button, LMN. Mr. Farrakhan said his mother tried to get rid of him with a hanger before he was born. And that's thank you for eliminating with Mr. Farrakhan. Well, yeah, still Mr. Farrakhan. Minister Farrakhan. He's a leader. He had impact. He is a factor, but he's not relevant anymore. In the 90s, he was relevant. I think he was on the cover of Time magazine at least one time during the 90s. A lot of people think, he's full of vitriol and hatred. But it's that misunderstanding that I think that Malcolm X also harbored as well, or was targeted at him. It was the fact that he could express himself with such intellectual propensity, the propensity of an intellect that was able to be conveyed by this singular man, this man of morals and stature. He talked about Malcolm. Mr. Choice Arthurian says, in many instances about Minister Farrakhan, and they say if, that people ask him, did the Nation of Islam have anything to do with Malcolm X's murder? Well, if the nation had anything to do with it, what business would it be of yours? That's how he responded. He didn't say yes or no. Yeah, of course, we doubt. He didn't say no, we didn't. He just said, what business would it have been of yours? It's 0 people watching right now. I'm cooking. But I appreciate that, Wizard. It's Malcolm X, 100 years. It's been 100 years. It's been 60 years since his death, I think. It was 60 years in February. It was 60 years in February. He would have turned 40 on this date, on this day, but not this date. This day he would have turned 100. And he could have been at 100. He could have lived to 100. There wouldn't have been anything stopping him. Sadly, he was gunned down, and there's no room for political violence ever. A lot of people made jokes about Trump, DJT. I can't stand the man. I despise him. I think he's evil, vicious, and ugly. His soul, not his physical self, but his soul is ugly and disgusting, like Harvey Weinstein and so many others. But he didn't deserve to be shot at and wounded in his ear. Very, very close to assassination. That is as close as you can get. That was like less than inches, millimeters away from him being assassinated. Wizard says, who party would you go to if you got An invite. Harvey and Diddy. We're not talking about Harvey and Diddy right now. It was a psyop. I forget what that means. What is a psyop? You got to explain that, Bumba. What is a psyop? I can't remember. I've heard that term before. Let me see if I can look it up. Let me see. Look up psyop. Let me see. Here we go. That's a psychological operations or operations to convey selected information and indicators to audiences to influence their motives and objective reasoning, and ultimately to behavior of governments, organizations, groups, and large foreign powers. The purpose of United States psychological operations is to induce or reinforce behavior perceived to be favorable to U.S. objectives. Okay, so how is that a psyop? I'm confused. Oh, okay. See, that's why I was gonna wait to the. I got 15 minutes, less than 15 minutes. I'm gonna go in. I'm gonna go in now. This is me going in raw dog from the back. Pause. But seriously, this is a great question, Wizard, and this is where I was gonna go. Who is more influential, Malcolm or MLK? This is the interesting thing. In school, we're just talked about Martin. There's a holiday, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day, obviously more influential than Malcolm X. However, I don't remember when. I don't remember how I learned about Malcolm X. Was it the movie? Was it TV shows? I don't remember. I don't recall any real concrete evidence that the schooling system, which I went to in Christiana School District in Newark, Delaware, and also Wilmington, Delaware, where we talked about Malcolm X. I don't remember. I could be wrong. I could be crazy. I'm crazy. I have bipolar disorder, but I don't remember the depth, the ability. I remember test questions. There were test questions in the state testing that talked about Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. There was no testing about Malcolm X. None. I remember that vividly. I remember there were questions where we had to answer about what do you think about Martin? And of course, I have a dream. I have a dream. Now, see, I'll go back a little bit and say how Dr. King got capped. Dr. King got smoked because he started going against the Vietnam War. Nobody cared about the niggers. He could talk about niggers all day. Black people should get, what was the March on Washington in 1963? They said jobs and equality and jobs and freedom or something like that. It was like, okay, great. Let the niggers march and walk and do their thing. And this guy gets up and starts saying, I have a dream. And okay, great, wonderful. I hope you go back to sleep, and enjoy your dream. It's like nobody cared. But when he started talking against the Vietnam War, that's when it intensified. That's when it got serious. That's when it got real. Because he was talking about something that shouldn't have been a pressing issue. It should have been like he should be murdered for it. It should have been something where he should have been able to convey his ideas. And they were wrong in the context. He was saying it from a context of peace and love and happiness and Jesus and stuff like that, because he was obviously a reverend. But I think that he was executed. He was, assassinated because of his Vietnam, war rhetoric, his stance against the war. That really got him in trouble. They pulled up on MLK like, do you know Joy Lane? Okay, Bummer, now you're going crazy. You're going wild, my friend. Salute to you, though. But like I said, the whole school system. I mean, it's not even a question, which is a good question. You asked who was more influential, because, in a sense, Malcolm X is technically more influential. In a sense, he was more influential because I think the fact that he wasn't as influential as Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., the fact that there's not statues of him in the Washington Mall and stamps, too many stamps. There might be a Malcolm. I think there's a Malcolm X stamp, but they're not as prominent as Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He has, like I said, he has a holiday. He has a day. His birthday is as a holiday, a national holiday. The Arizona tried to shoot down, racist as hell. But I think I would try to shoot him down anyway. I would have instituted Ayn Rand, a Rand Day on February 2nd. Make it, instead of Groundhog Day, make it Rand Day. That's what I would have done, and I would have advocated for, even though that probably wouldn't have been advantageous or proper. Maybe. I don't celebrate birthdays anyway, too much. I mean, the people around me, I give them gifts, and I get gifts on my birthday and stuff like that. But when it comes down to it, I'm not going to be celebrating my birthday the same way I didn't celebrate my birthday when I was, away from home. It's the same thing, same issue. But that's a totally different situation. That's a great question, Wizard. Who is more influential, Malcolm or MLK? Because, I mean, in hip-hop, MLK is not as influential for hip-hop. Malcolm X is. That's the reason why Spike Lee had the movie Malcolm X instead of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. That's the reason, because he knew that he would be a more controversial figure, for one, and the fact that he was Muslim. Public Enemy, exactly. Public Enemy, the Native Tongue, the Jungle Brothers, and different stuff like that. Yeah, public, all of that. He had a big influence. Tupac, he had an influence on Tupac Shakur. Definitely big influence. That's an excellent question, Wizard. Excellent question. Because like I said, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. did not influence hip hop the way it did for Malcolm did. He did not have the same kind of grasp of the revolutionary spirit in hip hop. I'm saying, maybe in reality. You're welcome, Wizard. Exactly. Malcolm better than MLK. I don't know. I don't know if he's greater than MLK. I wouldn't compare them. They're two totally different people, two totally different aims. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. wanted to have peace and unity and a sense of, service to Jesus, and Malcolm X wanted land, prosperity, chasteness. Is chasteness a word? That's it. Chastity. Excuse me. Chastity, not chasteness. Chastity, and understanding. He was based. Are you saying based like Lil B? Bumba, are you saying like Lil B based? Lil B is one of my favorite rappers, by the way. He said, my gun's all peanut butter. I don't never jam. Oh, my God. I'll never forget that. What happened to Lil B? What happened to him? He just jumped off the face of the earth. He used to come out with a rap video every few days. Now, I don't know where he is. He got fat and and retired. Maybe he got money. I don't know. Like a Martian. Okay. I think that's one of his songs. I can't remember. But yeah, to Wizard's point, I don't recall ever in school, ever once, never once. And all I remember, I have a dream, I have a dream, I have a dream, I have a dream. I was like, that's his only calling card. It wasn't necessarily even supposed to happen. It was completely extemporaneous. It was just off the top of the dome. He freestyled that whole speech. He freestyled it completely. And the irony of it all is that he got a C in, I'm talking about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., he got a C in speech making or making speeches in college. And I think in Boston College or Morehouse. It was either Morehouse or Boston. I think it was in Boston College when he was earning his doctorate. He got a C. He passed, but he got a C. Wizard says MLK destroyed black unity by wanting us to integrate with Whitey. Facts. Facts. Look what happened 30 years after his death. Look what happened 10 years after his death. Heroin, crack cocaine, just nearly obliterated the black community. Well, actually, it obliterated the black community. The neighborhood still stood, but the community was gone. The community was completely it was completely destroyed. I think Wizard's on to something again. Yeah, Malcolm X was not for that. Malcolm X was for building up groceries, or is it grocery? I always say groceries or groceries. Grocers, law firms, hospitals, insurance companies, libraries, bookstores. That's a community, not a barbershop and a funeral home. That's not a community. That's a neighborhood. And the corner bodega. None of the blacks own that. The blacks might own the barbershop. They might own the funeral home. But they don't own the cash check. Was it the check cashing facilities? They don't own the bodegas. They don't own the shopping marts. They don't own any of that. They own none of that. People from India and Pakistan and Korea and Japan and stuff like that come over here. The late great Paul Mooney, this is his birthday. The late great Paul Mooney, he would have been, let me see. Give me a minute. I'm going to pause for the cause. Paul Mooney, age. He would have been 83 years old. No, he would have been 84 years old. He would have been 84 years old. No, what the hell? Hold up. Oh, because he's okay. He would have been 84 years old. That was because he died in 2021. He was born in 1941. He would have been 80, but he didn't make it to his 80th birthday. But he would have been 84. But anyway, he said, oh, what did he say? I can't even. I'm trying to see what happens when I try to do math. I'm gonna read Wizard's quote. All women of different nationalities have MLK to thank for their women rights because before him they didn't have any. Are you talking about Susan B. Anthony? Are you talking about various other women that had secured rights for women? I mean, they rode the wave. Everybody rode the wave, and they admit it. I can't remember who admitted it, but I'm gonna try to think of the Paul Mooney quote. I don't even know what I was talking about. God damn it, I can't remember. But it is Paul Mooney's birthday. Just remember that. I'll get to the quote maybe later or never. But it is his birthday. He was born on Malcolm X's birthday. Oh, excuse me. No, he died. Excuse me. Oh, he I'm messing up. He died on May 19th, 2021. He was born on August 4th, 1941. Y'all should have caught my dumbass. He was born August 4th, 1941 in Shreveport, Louisiana, and died May 19th, 2021 in Oakland, California. Okay, so we had to correct that. And I can't remember his quote anyway, so forget it. But no, everybody rode the wave. Hispanics, I call them yellow people, red people, brown people, black people, everybody, white people, rode the wave. Rode the wave of the civil rights movement. They don't talk about it, but it's the truth. Look at Desi Arnaz. Oh, well, he's Hispanic. We like Hispanics. We like Hispanics. Hispanics are cool. They go, yeah. He's got the congas. He's got the Babalu. That's an African god. We like that's from Paul Mooney. I remember him saying it's an African god. I learned that from him. Repeal the 19th. Why are you saying repeal the 19th? I don't understand. Has it been instituted? So, given all that, we have to, look at the facts that Malcolm X, Malcolm Little, Detroit Red, Al Shabazz was a man that was a staggering and towering figure, a stature that nobody will probably ever reclaim or come close to, not in the next 100 years. I'd like to thank my people that came into the live chat. Thank you very much. I appreciate you, and I will see you all tomorrow. Take care.